Welcome back. Now, it's been 10 months since Godwin Obaseki was sworn in as the governor of Edo State after the keenly contested September 2020 election. Indeed, at the time, some analysts had said Obaseki's second term will be more eventful, especially considering the occurrences that led to his re-election. That's his fallout now with his predecessor, Adams Oshomole, and his consequent defection from the All Progressives Congress to the opposition People's Democratic Party, PDP. But what no one expected was that almost a year into his second term, Obaseki would not constitute a cabinet. Now, following his re-election, the governor reappointed Osaradio Ogie as the secretary to the state government, and no other appointment has been made since then. So 6 months into his administration in June, Obaseki said he has been busy restructuring the civil servants and directed wards and local governments in the state to submit names to be nominated as members of his cabinet. Now, even after that, it's been one excuse or the other for Obaseki's delay in appointing commissioners, and Edo people are waiting. And to be candid, the issue is now generating a lot of debate in the public. Joining me now to discuss this further is Libros Oshoma, who is a lawyer and also a political affairs analyst. He joins us via Skype from Abuja. Libros, thank you very much for joining us on the program. Did you see this? Did you see this coming?
I know from the campaigns that Obaseki was not a man of his words, but I didn't expect that the people would allow him do this, up to a year into his administration. There is no cabinet. Even his first tenure, there were some kind of delay, and they were always pointing to President Muhammadu Buhari then that Buhari also delayed, that they were just taking precedence from the president who spent 6 months to constitute a cabinet.
But now he's gone beyond. He's even set a new record.
He would break the record. That he would break the record of Mr. President at a month and 3 weeks, exactly 1 year, that Obaseki was sworn in. And one would have expected, you say you are restructuring the civil service. One would have expected that in restructuring the civil service, you will have your commissioners in place that would help you or assist you, the hands and legs that will be there. You can't be governor and at the same time you are commissioner. You have the eye in all the departments and agencies of government, and you see everything happening there, and nobody's reporting to you. So for me, all of those are all pack of lies. When Obaseki came on board, Obaseki, if you remember,
let me quickly ask you this: what do you think?
Quickly.
Okay.
Quickly, it was referred to as MOU governor. Obaseki signed more than 15 MOU, and as I speak today, none of the MOU was executed. He's still signing some more. So that's why I say that it's not a man of his words. So I will hear your question now. Sorry.
Okay, I was just going to ask you. Look, could there be any genuine excuse for him? Because he said, look, he's reforming the civil service in the state. And let's face it, it's not as if, has he even broken any law at all? Because I'm not very sure the Constitution is clear on this, because this has been debated in the past. What do you think, in your own view? Why do you think he'll be delaying appointing his commissioners? What is he benefiting from this?
Yeah, a lot. There's a lot for him to benefit. Now, apart from the fact that he doesn't have commissioners, he also does not have the full complement of the State House of Assembly.
Yes.
So he cannot be queried. Obaseki, as I speak now, it's almost like an emperor.
So he takes decisions.
Dictator. So he takes decisions unilaterally. He does not have the complement of the Executive Council, the complement of the Executive Council. And also, constitutionally, the Executive Council has its place in the day-to-day affairs of the government. He also does not have the complement of the State House of Assembly. So the benefit for him are that the man takes unilateral decision. It's acting like a monarch now. Its actions cannot be questioned because you have a State House of Assembly that is 9 out of 20-something member or so. So all of this talk about restructuring, saving costs, as we speak, even governance in Edo State is in comatose. So people that ordinarily would act as commissioners, people that would act as aides to commissioner, that would also enable the dividends of governance trickle down, and not there. So what you have is a man who's an emperor. He is the commissioner for agriculture. He's the commissioner for health. He's the commissioner for education. He's commissioner for justice. He's the attorney general of the state. He's unknowing. And that is not the intendment of our constitution. A man cannot be unknowing. If the law had expected him to be unknowing, the law wouldn't have made provisions for commissioners to be appointed. So, if you remember also, DEJI, in 1979, Balarabe Musa, then governor of Kaduna State, the first governor to be impeached in Nigeria, for 1 month did not have commissioners, and the entire country almost brought the roof down on the state governor, not because he didn't want to appoint commissioners, but because he had a house that was occupied by MPN members. He was a member of PRP, but he had a house that was occupied by MPN, and they frustrated his nominations. That was just 30 days, 30 days. But today, you have situations where a president will not have ministers for 6 months, a governor will not have commissioners for almost a year, and everything would go on as if nothing has happened. So the benefit for Obaseki is that he takes decision unilaterally. He sits down with, he appropriates funds without the complement of a debate from the Executive Council, without the complement of a complete State House of Assembly. So the budget, how are the states, the department's budget presented? You would say that the permanent secretaries would be doing that. The permanent secretaries, we all know these days, are like, appendages or extension. They hardly know what is happening in government house. Recently, some permanent secretaries in Rivers State were complaining that orders and instructions are just passed down to them. So if you can imagine, that's a state where you have commissioners, not to talk of a state where you don't even have commissioners at all. So the governor would sit down, with the state accountant general and decide which contract to be executed, which are not to be executed, and nothing is discussed. There is no state executive council. So those are the benefits for him.
Now,
and
could we say part of the reason, or probably the main reason why he is finding it difficult to appoint commissioners is because it would appear that things are not settled yet in the PDP that he defected to, and that you still have other members of the APC who defected with him, that maybe the sharing formula has not been agreed upon. But it's quite surprising that it would be taking this long anyway to reach an agreement on all of these issues, especially among the members of the PDP and those who came from the APC with him.
DEJI, I would not want to speculate, but you would also agree with me that whilst he was moving to PDP, some form of agreement would have been reached at the initial stage. If you are a man of your words and we call you excellency, one would have expected that you be excellent with the agreement that you reached. Like we say in law, pacta sunt servanda, all agreements must be binding. So there were agreements reached while he moved into the party. Now that the party had given you a ticket and ensured that you came back on the platform of the party, you won your re-election. All those agreements reached, one would have expected that all they needed to do was just implement them. So that's, for me, it's also neither here nor there that you cannot conclude on the agreement reached. I would not agree to that, because some people would have alluded to that also. But for a governor who has served the first 4 years, you already understand the nitty-gritty of governance. You already also would understand to a very large extent what you're going into when he went into PDP. I agree, he was frustrated out of his party. But the excuses that is given, that is asked that commissioners should be nominated from their ward level, and from states and local government level. How
That is
long
baffling.
does it take for you to conduct interviews?
That is even baffling to say commissioners should be nominated from the ward level.
Quickly, DEJI.
It's really
he set
baffling.
up, yes, he
but
did
Libros,
set up
you
a
know
committee.
what?
He did set up a committee led by Professor Agbolanho, a former vice chancellor of Edo State University, that screened the candidates. The candidates were screened. So all those candidates that were screened, what happened to them? If you are talking about nomination from all that agreement had not been concluded. So why set up a committee to screen them?
That's a good question. But and I think that's where we should just take a quick break now. We'll come back, and when we come back, we'll discuss something else. So Libros, continue to stay with us. We'll be right back.
Opinions are free, facts are sacred, but truth is universal.
How, in practical terms, can we, for instance, de-escalate the tension?
President must see himself as the President of the Federal Republic.
We know where the enemy is. 3 places. The Lake Chad Basin, the border area between Nigeria and Cameroon, and then the Sambisa Forest.
On DEJI360, we give you a complete dose of everything. Opinion, facts, and undiluted truth.
I hardly believe what politicians say in this part of the world.
A new Nigeria is possible, a future is possible.
We delve into the issues, dissect it so that you can understand it, use it to take action.
I don't think there's any need for any governor to look for grant for ranching.
DEJI360, dissecting the issues.